How'd it wind up under there? Not one round fired. It must have happened fast. What is it with Italians and olives? They lap those things up like caviar. Like a true bachelor, he should have put these into soak. Hours of scraping to get them clean. Although at this stage, I don't think Boccarini's too worried about that. 4 glasses. 2 of water, 2 of wine. I've always been a whiskey man, but I know a good wine when I see one. Leftover lasagna, and it looks good. Why is it that 2 out of 3 Italian gangsters are great cooks? I'll never understand what the deal is with them in cooking. The plates and the glasses leave no room for doubt. Boccarini had company for dinner. One knife's missing, the biggest one. Shut from the inside. It opens onto the same room as the jammed door in the corridor. A door in the corridor jammed shut. It opens onto the same room as the locked door. Dirty plates, glasses, and silverware from a dinner for 2. The dirty dishes and glasses prove that Boccarini ate lasagna with one other person. Was Boccarini's guest still in the house when the murderer showed up? A broken whiskey glass found in the dining room. A broken table, scratched and covered in blood. A door in the corridor jammed shut. It opens onto the same trail of blood from the dining room. 2 pools of blood, one on either side of a broken table, the trail of blood from the dining room. A door in the corridor jammed shut. What looks like the bottom of a broken glass seems clear that Boccarini and his guest were drinking when the murderer took them by surprise. The real question is, what happened to the witness? Did they escape? Did the murderer take them? Or are they still in the house? A door in the corridor jammed shut. It opens onto the same room as the locked door in the kitchen. A door in the kitchen, locked from the inside. It opens onto the same room. One locked door could be a coincidence, but 2 locked doors which open onto the same room can't be. Either I'm completely wrong, or the witness is in that room. But I need Milton to open one of those doors. The lamp, torn off its brackets and blocking the stairs. The trail of blood from the dining room to the hall. An open bottle of whiskey. Pieces of glass from the window in the hall, found inside the house. A broken table, scratched and covered in blood. A pistol, fully loaded. I'd say Boccarini was drinking in the dining room when his assailant burst in through the window. Boccarini pulled his gun, but the murderer disarmed him before he could shoot. Where did the torture begin? The lamp, torn off its brackets and blocking the stairs. The trail of blood from the 2 pools of blood, one on either side of the dining room. A broken table, scratched and covered in blood. The trail of blood from the dining room. A blood-stained wristwatch with a glass bloodstains show that the murderer began to torture Boccarini on the dining table itself. That was where his hands were torn off. As a result, his wristwatch fell to the ground. How did the body reach its current position? The trail of blood from the dining room to the hall. The lamp, torn off its brackets and blocking the stairs. Boccherini, already minus hands, was dragged into the hall, where the murderer used the brackets of the lamp to complete his macabre diorama.
Mr. Ness, can you open the door for me?
It was open. Why did you ring?
I thought I should use the doorbell, so I wouldn't startle you.
When I came in, I pressed the doorbell and it didn't work.
Well, in light of the facts, I deduced that it was your finger that wasn't working. So, what can you tell me to restore my faith in you as a detective?
What is that?
Not a good start. It's a camera, so Alphonse can see all this.
All right. Follow me. Boccherini had company for dinner. Someone from Vermont with the initials OB. Someone whose social status was a lot higher, but who was on the same side of the law. He served lasagna, and after clearing away the dishes, they opened a bottle of whiskey in the dining room. That was when the murderer burst in on them, coming through the window which he broke with his own body weight. Boccherini, or maybe his guest, pulled a gun, but it was a waste of time. The murderer was so fast he was disarmed before he could fire. He focused his attention on Boccherini, totally ignoring the guest, and lifted him up into the air. He then threw him against the dining room table so hard that one of the glasses of whiskey was embedded in Boccherini's back. He span around, clawing at the table, and immediately afterwards the murderer ripped off his hands. I have no idea how he did it, but all the evidence suggests he just pulled. Blood sprayed everywhere. The wristwatch fell to the ground. He dragged him through the corridor into the hall. He tore down the lamp, hung him from the brackets, and stabbed steel rods through his body. He skewered him on the iron bars, possibly taken from the fence outside, and pulled out his teeth one by one. Then he pulled his teeth out one by one as he died. Finally, he scooped out his eyes with a teaspoon. Boccherini must have been dead when the murderer went to the bathroom with his hands in his teeth. There, he arranged them to make an altar, weaving the fingers together and placing the teeth inside. Next, he painted something on the wall in blood, a symbol which I don't recognize, but which could have some kind of ritualistic significance. When he'd finished his artwork, he left. I don't know what he did with the eyes.
You're telling me that someone did all this armed with a teaspoon?
More or less.
And you worked all this out on your own, just by looking?
More or less.
I don't know which of the two of you scares me more. Wait a second. What about the guest?
Right. Come with me. Nothing.
Turns out Mr. Untouchable isn't infallible. But you were close. Congratulations.
This must be Boccherini's office. Let's take a quick look around.
All yours.
You're at a crime scene, and you sit down to read?
Titus Andronicus. One of the actors on the Hindenburg lent it to me. They're performing it soon. You couldn't ask for more appropriate reading material. Murder, mutilation, torture. Shakespeare's got it all.
We've lost the only lead we had to help us find Sophia Capone.
You think Boccherini's murder could be related?
Maybe. It's hard to say. Why'd you go to jail?
For murder, but...
You didn't do it, of course.
Of course I didn't, but I didn't intend to.
Jesus, there's at least $1 million here.
Boccarini's?
I'd be surprised. Probably his guests, and I doubt it was to pay Boccarini for his services. None of his forgeries are worth that much. Carlo, I have the goods for OB, but I have to take the children to school tomorrow and I can't make the meetup. Friday, same time, same place. It's signed NI.
These initials are getting to be a pain in the ass, right?
I have to take the kids to school tomorrow. I don't think this is some loving divorced daddy, Milton.
I take back what I just said.
The driver's license of one John Martinson and Osmond Burke. OB.
Do we know him?
The eldest son of the richest family in Vermont, convicted rapist. He was arrested thanks to the testimony of his father, who wound up disinheriting him. He escaped from prison last week. He broke into the family home and slit the throats of all his relatives one by one, opened the safe and got away with a fortune.
They don't make jails like they used to. All starting to add up, isn't it?
Out of my way! Ow!
All starting to add up, isn't it?
Out of my way! Ow!
Milton! Milton!
You're doing fine on your own, Mr. Ness. I believe in you. All starting to add up, isn't it?
Out of my way! Ow!
Milton! Milton!
You're doing fine on your own, Mr. Ness. I believe in you.
Get out! He's coming back!
Who's coming back?
Him! The monster!
The guy who killed Boccarini?
He was a monster! Well, get your hands off me, Negro!
What was he like? Describe him for me.
It was a monster. Red and black. I mean, his head reached the ceiling. He tore off his hands with his claws! It was a monster! A monster!
Should I hit him again?
You're Osmond Burke, right?
Yes.
Good. Now pay attention, Burke, because I have a question for you. Who wrote this note?
Nikolai Ivankov.
Rings a bell.
One of Capone's right-hand men 20 years ago. What does this stuff about kids mean?
I don't know.
Calm down, Burke. You were going to meet up with him, right?
Yes, at the docks, berth 42, right next to where the alligator 3 is moored.
So what's the meetup time?
Tomorrow at noon. Tomorrow.
Tomorrow? No, it's going to be tonight. Don't get too comfortable. We'll be there in no time. There are certain types of people I don't allow in my diner. But today, I have no choice but to make an exception.
I'm afraid not, Mr. Ness. I have to take him to Alphonse.
Out of the question. I know his temper. He'll beat him to a pulp.
Listen, if the missing girl was your granddaughter, you wouldn't forgive me if I didn't let you see the only suspect who could lead us to her.
Okay.
Shucks.
What?
I thought that bloodbath would cover up the smell of stale grease. I was wrong.
Eliot?
Ah, Delphine.
Oh, thank God you're here. The lights were off, so I thought that... I'm sorry. I got out of the hospital late, then I went to the station to pick up Jim's check, and when they told me... I'm scared.
Of what?
What are you drinking?
It's only juice. Juice and nothing else.
Breathe on me. You heard me.